let go and let the divine. We used to say let go and let God. And that really, to me, was always the teaching of Yeshua that I got from in that New Testament, but and the metaphysical, teachings of that and interpretation and such, and then led me on to the Essene, Gospel of Peace, and Teacher of Right, all that really cool stuff. And that what the really cool thing that when we really get to the heart of these teachings is that who we really are is absolute love. And this absolute love is free of lust, it's free of greed. All of these other, what we call love, in this reality is more like and dislike, having to do with the mind, as to, like, people say I love you in one moment, the next moment I hate you and I want you dead. I was thinking that this would be terrible to say, but this is the way it is. It's the way the mind is. When I realized, about getting a divorce years and years and years ago, whatever that time game is, but that when I was hoping the guy would die in the freeway or something so that I didn't have to deal with all this, I went, this is not me. This is not how I choose to be. What horrible thoughts. So then I said, okay, I just get a divorce. I have to. And that whole thing is the attachments that we have are what make us miserable and hold us down. That attachment to how we think we need to behave. That attachment to a role that we're playing. And the attachment, like a role in a script or a movie, a part or a character. That what I noticed too is, like, when I used to like to go out and go dancing a lot and such, I would notice how most people had only one step they did. And it was like their mind. There no neuron connections even in the brain. The of liquid crystal, that's transforming that light into the reality in that way. And so we have these attachments that we're of activities of how we behave and what we think is real and true. And so much, this is our limitations. And what I found from these great teachings was leading me to the realization that a great teacher doesn't mean that they're special and has something that we do not, or the teaching would be not valuable. It would be, how is it good for all? Or is there a conflict that is set up of a battle between so-called good and evil? Because there is no evil in the Supreme Being, to the Supreme Absolute Love. That does not exist. But in that play, there could be games that are played, what could be, whatever it may be, that was fun and pleasurable, but it did not involve in money or power or who's right and who's wrong, who's a winner, who's a loser, who's a failure, who's a success. So if we look at these attachments that we have in thoughts, in concepts, in beliefs, and how we're supposed to be and the role we're supposed to play, and what we do is we limit ourselves in these reality boxes that we then fight to defend and promote and protect. What is true and real does not need promotion or protection. It's the state of being. And because you're an eternal and you're always with yourself, the real key is to be so comfortable in your own beingness and that's so in tune with the divine that you're being guided and directed in every moment, not from the mind, not from the machine, not from a radio, not from a chip in the body, not from an alteration electronic of the mind, because you're not dealing in that realm. You're in the realm of the divine because it's who you are. And then one of the best ways to get tuned in that and rooted is rooted in your heart and rooted in your feet. So as you take your shoes off and walk in the grass, even if you only have a little plot of grass or some place that's clean and all this, in nature, not in the house. That's how I wear my socks oftentimes in the house, in that sense. Unless just take, I'm clean in that sense too. There's that. But the also is always cool too. Like outside the house, you have a place where you can wash your feet before you come in the house. That's cool too. They do that in temples, like in India. And I think they had one at the mosque that I visited in Jerusalem, the Temple of the Mount, Temple Mount. Yeah, that was really cool. I was retracing my religious heritages and backgrounds, and that it was like the spider that spins the web out and then takes the web back in again to get back to who you are, beyond the agreements to be someone other than who you are, to play the game, yes, you see, to make agreements. So it's just to look at that and to look to see that our attachments are controlling us. Because then we have to follow these attachments, and we're running after and running from, because also the attachments everybody else has around us that we seem to think that we have to fortify and we have to support. Because if we're not running after those same attachments, and so if we won't have any friends, we'll be all by ourselves, as if being by yourself is bad, then there's an issue. Because you can never taste then the supreme pleasure of the soul. And the more we can root ourselves in the heart, breathe, bring right into yourself, beyond the thinking, evaluating, judging, criticizing, self-hatred, blah, 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 spell casting, cursing others, this, the battle going on, da. Don't play the game, because you're already a winner. And beyond winning and losing, you already have it all, because you have the prize. You have your divine partner. And all that is asked is that we root ourselves in the divine, and our feet are rooted in the earth. And merging the body into the earth, and the self and the soul into the heart. And then you look to that in your aloneness of your being, without your attachments, the electronics of this, you got to have that. Okay. To be with yourself. The greatest pleasure of all.